The next startup is an in-gaming economy management startup. So Alex, who is with us now, was somewhat secretive on his original explanation, but I'm assuming he will not be as secretive online now. He's going to come out of stealth, I hope. You're on mute still, Alex.
I said, yeah, we're going to get through it.
All right. So, but I'm going to let Will introduce Alex.
All right, well, thanks, Howard. So Alex is the CEO and co-founder of Overflow Labs. Previously, he was a back-end infrastructure engineer at a variety of Silicon Valley Web2 startups, including Yammer, Microsoft, and Zenefits. He later then transitioned to the venture investing side of things, working for David Sachs at Craft Ventures, where he led early-stage crypto investing. I then had the pleasure of working with him when he joined me at Passport Capital with a similar initiative, investing early stage blockchain and crypto projects. And so needless to say, he's got a tremendous amount of experience spanning, as a developer and operator, and also just understanding the digital currency space. And as you'll soon find out, he's pulling all these passions together for building in crypto and now gaming into to Overflow Labs. So I'll turn it over to Alex.
Thank you, Will. Let me just get this up and running. Can you see it? Does that work? We good?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Awesome. Very kind of you, Will, and thank you all for being here. I'd like to spend the next 10 minutes or so to talk about Overflow and what we're building in order to accelerate the virtual economy. Overflow is a platform for game developers to easily build, manage, monetize, track, and secure their virtual economies. In addition, we will offer integration support into emerging technologies that we're seeing come out of the blockchain space, such as NFTs, automated market makers, and decentralized marketplaces. So what that means in a nutshell is if you're a game developer and you want to add in-app purchases, such as user-generated content or a virtual currency to your game, and get a rich set of analytics on top so you can see everything that's going on, we provide SDKs in your favorite development platforms, such as Unity and Unreal. You can keep your existing data store. Let us worry about the complicated bits so you can focus on building your game. Will already said most of the stuff I was going to say on the slide, but yeah, I'm Alex, co-founder and CEO of Overflow Labs. That's not me. In this presentation, I'd like to first get everyone up to speed on what the virtual economy is, give a quick history of how we got to where we are today, talk about the different types of marketplaces that exist, and where we believe things are headed. So the virtual economy is an estimated $80 billion a year industry that is taking place right now, completely in virtual worlds, trading virtual goods created by virtual labor through virtual marketplaces. This entire digital supply chain is powered by nearly 2.5 billion players across the world, connecting through laptops, desktops, consoles, and more frequently, mobile phones. To put this into perspective, that's about a quarter of the entire world's population that is somehow involved in the virtual economy. All right, so what are virtual assets? They can range from weapons, armor, collectible cards, virtual land, unique digital art, and even dance moves. Some people spend more time in virtual worlds than they do in real life. I think all of us are now too. And they are putting in a lot of time and effort into these games. These items they acquire can hold personal meaning to the player, just like anything else. This value is intrinsically understood inside all games. And like any hobbyist that has something that they've been like trying to acquire for a long time, people are willing to spend a lot of money on a piece they've been after for a while. A castle in 1997 sold on eBay, sold for $3,000 in what may have been one of the first transactions of a digital asset. Virtual nightclub in the game Entropia Universe sold for a total of $635,000 in 2010. Fortnite at its peak made almost $300 million a month selling their own virtual currency and cosmetic-only skins and dance moves. While in 2020, Roblox boasted 150 million players inside a 100% user-generated world and paid out over $250 million to their creators. On the crypto and NFT side of things, CryptoPunks, which is the first collectible limited NFT on Ethereum, just last week saw 2 unique digital art of 8-bit portraits sell for over $1 million each. And NBA Top Shots, I think yesterday, the flagship NFT collectible trading card market on Flow recently surpassed the traditional sports card market. I'll leave it up to the viewer if this is a build or not, although BTC did go back over 50K like, I don't know, like 10, 20 minutes ago. So the virtual economy has been here for a long time, and it's getting bigger and more interesting every day, which has only been accelerated by the pandemic. What once started off as on third-party sites, fan forums, and chat rooms, virtual marketplaces have now become the predominant revenue stream for game studios through in-app purchases and increasingly user-generated content, which enables players to contribute to the game and reap a portion of the profits. This creates stickiness, increases community engagement, and taps into a never-ending source of fresh content for the game. So what do these virtual marketplaces look like? You can think of virtual marketplaces as the engine that powers the virtual economy. Something akin to the Grand Bazaar and the New York Stock Exchange, but everyone's dressed up like it's Comic-Con. In the beginning, there was only secondary peer-to-peer shadow markets. These lived on third-party websites where players could trade in-game items for real-world cash. This didn't exist inside the games. This fulfilled and still fulfills to this day a massive unmet demand that players have, that they want to acquire more gold or items instead of grinding it out in games as a way to get ahead more quickly. Or, as we're seeing in countries such as Venezuela, players are logging into a 20-year-old game called RuneScape in order to grind out virtual gold pieces as their main source of income, because the in-game currency is worth more and is more stable than their own fiat currency. We estimate that the shadow market alone is worth about $20 billion a year. Then came centralized closed marketplaces, which is a fairly common occurrence in most games today, because studios they didn't like getting cut out of their share of the profits happening in the shadow market. Their answer was microtransactions, loot boxes, direct-to-consumer virtual currency, and other pay-to-win revenue tricks. They are closed markets because the money only flows in one direction, and that's into the developer's bank account. Game companies may have shifted their monetization strategy, trying to bring in the lost shadow market revenue, but it didn't stop it from existing. Fortnite alone sees a $1 billion flow through the sale of hacked accounts. Centralized open marketplaces are similar to centralized closed, but adds a play-to-earn model where players can withdraw real-world money for their efforts in game, typically through user-generated content, such as building a level or designing a skin. This approach has been hugely popularized by Roblox, but we're seeing it start popping up in smaller indie titles as well. And the newest type of marketplace, which pretty much takes the best parts of the previous three, both from a developer and player perspective, is the primary peer-to-peer or distributed or decentralized marketplace, which emerged from the cryptocurrency industry, which by design offers programmable assets and peer-to-peer markets by default. The gaming industry has yet to take full advantage of these markets, as they're still fairly nascent and the gaming industry doesn't really know how to get into them yet. But we believe this will be the dominant form for gaming marketplaces in the future. But some work is needed to do this for us, because crypto is still an island to anyone who isn't in crypto. There's all this amazing innovation happening in DeFi and NFTs, but it's all mostly built on top of the existing crypto industry for the crypto industry. And as it gets larger and larger and more complex, it gets further away from the mainland, making it difficult for the existing industries to keep up or properly know what's going on, or even how to get started and take place. It can be very intimidating. If we want to see real world adoption in existing industries, we need to start building bridges, which in the games industry means creating tools that studios can use and take advantage of right now, such as currency and programmable asset management, economy balancing, and secure transactions, all while providing robust analytics and tracking, allowing us to see at a glance the overall health of the economy in order to quickly debug issues or even like deploy A/B testing to experiment and optimize new features and game modes. There's so much we could be building right now that'll help ease the transition of the existing games industry into its next evolution, such as SDKs that will plug into existing development environments. That gives them the tools to quickly bootstrap, manage, and secure an economy, as well as take advantage of the exciting technologies happening in crypto without them having to spend too much time and the risk of ramping up. And that's exactly what we're building at Overflow. You can think of us as a SaaS platform for virtual economies. In the same way that no one builds their own billing systems anymore because now we have Stripe, game studios won't have to build out their own virtual economy management systems. This way, game developers can focus on what they want to do, which is build games. Some examples. If you're a game developer and you want to be building a new collectible card game, you can add our SDK to your Unity project and select the CCG template. This will set up some sensible defaults on how many factions there will be, but feel free to change any aspect you'd like. Want to add limited edition numbered cards? You can just select that from a dropdown. Do you want to add in-app purchases, user-generated content, or play to earn? So your players are incentivized to add fresh content. Let us handle the moderation, engines, transactions, and profit splitting. That way you can expand your revenue streams. Do you want to get hacked? Probably not, but you don't have to lose sleep over it. No fancy high-tech database is going to save you if you've implemented it incorrectly. So trust us with taking on that responsibility. But why should you trust us? I think now is a good time to introduce you to my co-founders, Adrian and Paul, AKA Manfred and Q, respectively, or at least that's how I met them 24 years ago in IRC. Anyway, they've been hacking virtual economies for the past 2 decades. And what I mean by that is they would find exploits at the assembly level in online games and generate as much in-game currency as they could sell and wholesale it to third-party sites such as EGPAL and IGE. And it was their primary source of income for a while. If you bought gold online between 1997 and 2017, there was a good chance it came from them. Here's a selection of games that they hacked. Some of these games still make $10 to $50 million a year. And the secondary markets of these that they were in, they calculated that some of them could be 3 to 5 times that. And we did the math. So of course, they were making a ton of money, but they were doing something that the players wanted and needed, fulfilling an unmet demand. And through their work, they got closely involved in the market dynamics of virtual economies, gaining knowledge of player behavior and needs, economic thresholds, pricing, life cycle trends, and very importantly, security. They often knew more about a game's economy and the security of it than the developers did. And they also had some fun along the way. Here they are in 2003, where they took control of the servers in a game called Shadowbane, spawning multiple instances of oversized, unkillable monsters, raising the ocean level so it completely flooded everyone in the main town, and then stealing and wearing an admin's unique armor when he came to confront them about it. Or that time they showed a Vice reporter how to generate the real-world equivalent of $800 trillion worth of WildStar online currency, but there was no market liquid enough to cash that out. Or that time they got into a pricing war in Lineage with the North Korean government. Apparently they have or maybe they still have, a state-sponsored hacking group called Office 39, and they were hacking online games for profit. So Adrian and Paul went legit though. They never profited off of any game that interfered with the game's core business model, such as selling gold directly to players. And in fact, it was the proliferation of the industry moving to the in-app purchase model that pushed them out of their gray hat ways. So to wrap up, we know our stuff. And now we're using that 2 decades of virtual economy experience to help gamers build and secure their virtual economies. You also get low friction into your existing development platforms. You can use your existing stack, or we can manage it for you. De-risk the new technology innovations that we're seeing in crypto and avoid the ramp-up cost of hiring specialized talent or retraining existing employees. And take advantage of new revenue streams such as UGC and expand community engagement while never being starved for fresh content. And most importantly, let us worry about the complicated bits so you can focus on what you're passionate about, which is building your game. So that's it. Feel free to find me on the internet, either through my email, alex@overflowlabs.io, or on Twitter @Dusk. If you want to keep up with our progress, or if you're building a game or know anyone that is, we'd love to chat. So feel free to reach out. And thank you. I think we have time for questions and things. So
that was great, Alex. You know, the reason I really liked your story when you first told it to me, and I still like it, is that, you know, as we all know, gaming generally is a hits business, but you don't really have to worry about hits because you're going to service, you know, everybody, hopefully, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of the goal going into it. We actually started this wanting to build a game, and we had like a couple different like ideas in mind, and we realized that we needed this kind of platform to kind of tie everything together. Then we kind of came to that same epiphany that like, wait a second, like we have to get really lucky on these games. So like the real thing here is the platform that we need to build in order to facilitate all this stuff. So that's the direction we went.
Who else is providing picks and shovels for the gaming system? I mean, there's not really, is there really a service?
I mean, you could say like Unity and Unreal are picks and shovels. There's a company called Improbable, which kind of offloads like the bulk assets of games.
Right.
It's middleware there. There's a ton of it.
Right. Great. Well, really interesting. Thank you so much for that presentation.
Yeah.
And thanks, Will, for doing the intro.